Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this August 2025 Troy Hill Citizens meeting. My name is Morgan Kaspowitz. I am the chair of Troy Hill Citizens, and we are very excited to have a lot of folks with us here today in the room and online. So we are going to get us started with some updates from Zone 1. I know there has been a lot of police activity in the neighborhood that I've personally witnessed in the past month, so I am very excited to hear from our officers and see, what they can share with us about those updates. So Officer Duffy, I'll go ahead and pass it off to you.
Thank you. Am I coming over okay?
Yeah, we can hear you great. Thank you so
All right.
much.
All right, perfect. I had to double check these numbers a couple of times because some of it didn't sound right to me for the time period that I did it for, but this is what I kept getting back. So I pulled the numbers from your last meeting up until today. So that's almost 2 months worth. But in that time frame, there were 11 reports generated and there were 2 arrests. I'll go over those arrests in a second. For the Part 1 crimes, there was 1 burglary. In that burglary, the victim thinks that it's people known to her. So it wasn't just somebody was at work and strangers, broke into their house. They believe that they're friends with people who did that burglary. And there were 6 thefts. Excuse me. For one of the arrests, it was actually an arrest that initially occurred on the 2nd of June in the 1800 block of Lay Street. Officers were called there for a domestic between a mother and a daughter. The elderly mother stated that she felt dizzy and she was taken to the hospital. The daughter was arrested that day. I think the daughter had punched the mother in the chest, or at least, swung at her and hit her in the chest. And then about 20 days later or so, the victim was still at AGH and she passed away. So the charges were upgraded to homicide. So it hit on the statistics for this month because they upgraded the charges on the 8th of July. But the initial incident happened on the 2nd of June. And the other arrest was from standby. The other arrest was in the 2100 block of Veronica Street. That was on the 20th of June. That charges for that were terroristic threats, stalking, recklessly endangering another person, false reports, and there was harassment. That incident happened between people who know each other. Someone called us and stated that they were kidnapped or held against their will at that address. It turned out that we learned that they made that up to get a former spouse or in trouble. So the person who called 911 that day was actually the one who got arrested. That's all I have. If anybody has any questions.
Any questions?
I have a question. I live on Veronica Street. There is stuff going on there almost every night. There's a very high police presence. What is going on?
Officer, did you hear the question? You're muted in case you are speaking.
Yeah, I am speaking. That was the only thing that generated a report when I did the reports, and I'll double check that address before I get off. But that was the only one I saw that generated a report. Now, if there were 911 calls, I would have to do a little bit of research to see what those are. But sometimes there are 911 calls that don't result in any reports taken and don't result in any arrests. But the database I was searching in only shows arrests and reports. But before I get off, I'll do a second search and see what I can find.
Any other questions for Zone 1?
How about 311 reporting?
I'm not sure. Officer, do you have access to the database around 311 reporting?
No, I used to. They started using a new system, and now we only have 2 people here that have access. I do not.
If there were...
What I can say, generally speaking, what I can say is we are, and we were, and I'm sure we still are, extremely backed up on those, because when they were switching from the old website and database to the new one, there was a whole period in between where we were getting 311 complaints, but they weren't getting distributed to anybody. So once we got the new system, we had a stack of them to run through. So if somebody may have filed a 311 complaint, we might not have gotten to it yet. If anybody has one, my email is in the chat. Email me what it was and when you filed it, and I'll see if I can find it and see what the disposition was.
Any other questions for Zone 1? Anyone online? I do have one question, Officer. Does your report territory, does it geographically include around 31st Street Bridge? I know I've seen a couple of alerts for police activity over the past couple of weeks near 31st Street Bridge in Rialto, and I'm curious if it included that.
Yeah, that area, that intersection specifically on the map is part of your neighborhood. I usually filter those out because generally speaking, they don't involve anybody from your community or, suggest a crime problem in your community. We had 2 DUIs in the last month down there. None of them lived in Northside. None of them were actually in Troy Hill. And then we had some instances where there were, we had encounters with some of the people that panhandle down there. Again, it wasn't a crime that happened in your community. So I try to filter out those unless there's a direct link to somebody or someone or an address in your neighborhood, then I would include it.
That makes sense.
But from this point on, if you guys want to, I could start including those.
Well, how do people feel? Would others like to see to hear reporting on police activity at the bottom of Rialto at 31st Street Bridge, or we can continue filtering it out?
That was actually the helicopters. It was a week ago Tuesday. Mm-hmm. It was a carjacking that ended up there. So
okay.
But a woman was hit.
Oh wait, I did see that.
And
yes.
They brought in the SWAT team to deal with that, but
yes, that's it.
They jumped in the river.
Yeah, let's go ahead and include it, Officer, because I think that's helpful because I didn't. But I think that's good to know, right? Like, I think it's helpful because I did witness what you were saying, and I was wondering what the follow up was because it looked really scary. It looked incredibly scary. So, yes, that's very true. That's very true. Yeah. So, Officer, I understand why it makes sense if it's like you're filtering out DUIs. I think it's helpful, at least for now, to go ahead and include anything that involves that intersection, Rialto and Bridge, because we can always just ignore it if it's not useful data to us. So, but thank you very much.
Yeah, not a problem. I'm going to do a quick search on that Veronica address. So I'm going to stay on. What I find, I'll type into the chat just so I don't interrupt you guys. And my contact information is in there. If anybody wants any more information on that, or if there's something in there they want to, I just don't want to jump in and interrupt what you guys have coming up.
I appreciate that very much. And yes, we do have your contact information in the chat, and I know, like Lindsay, we can put it into the newsletter as well. Any other questions for anyone coming in about for Zone 1? Thank you so much, Officer Jeffio. I really appreciate it. So we'll jump down to our government partners. I see, I can't read the name. Is that Jordan here from Councilman Wilson's office?
Morgan,
I'm so sorry. I just couldn't read your fellow Morgan. I should know better. But it's good to see you. Would you like to give us an update from the District 1 office?
Yes, so I have 2 updates. The first one, last meeting, I had provided information on the LED modernization project. And I know I was asked about the historic decorations on the streetlights on Lowry Street, I believe. So I double checked with Domi, and since those are decorative fixtures, those are not a part of the LED project, so those won't be touched at all. So that's good to know. And then also I have an update on Rialto Street. I believe there was a request about a yellow line that our office had received. I think Julianne, our chief of staff, was working on it. So she spoke with Domi, and she was told that a yellow line cannot be painted because this is an official yield street, which essentially requires a minimum of 10 feet of travel lane in each direction to have a yellow line there. And so that's the DOMI's decision on that. And so those are the only two updates I have. So if there are any questions, please let me know.
The famous yellow line, gone but never forgotten. So I will say, Morgan, if folks wanted to follow up, because there was a lot of questions that were generated from that and wanting to better understand, rationale behind those rules, especially because a lot of people did find that line to be very helpful. I did witness cars actually sticking to their side. So if someone wanted to learn more about that or talk more about that, what would be the best route for them to go?
So you can reach out to our office. I know Domi has all the information, but it's pretty hard to get in contact with Domi. So I can ask them specifically where they found that rule where it's if it's a yield street, it can't have a yellow line within 10 feet of each direction. So you can reach out to our office. I can include our email in the chat so that I can share the information that Domi gives to us.
Thank you so much. Any other questions for Councilman Wilson's office?
I can actually fill in the blanks as a transportation plan.
Oh yes, actually this is great. Thank you very much. We need the expert in the room.
Fun fact for the day, lane size was based on the patent tank. So when roads were put in, they were based on the 12-foot width of a patent tank.
Huh.
And so being that these are substandard lanes, they aren't really lanes, which is why it has to be a yield street. And with smart technology on cars, recognizing getting those edges on the paint lines and stuff, it just adds another layer of awful or potential conflict.
That makes, I didn't think about that because our smart technology in our cars are actually looking for those lines. Yes. I didn't think about that. Okay.
Yeah, and even going from a 4-inch line to a 6-inch line, particularly on shoulders and stuff, is a significant impact. You wouldn't think it, but yeah.
Huh.
Can I ask a question?
Sorry, we have first question.
We have to slow down and let somebody pass. Generally, it's the cars coming up that get the preferred right of way if they're en route. But it's generally slow down, let people pass, and it's essentially one lane being used both directions.
Interesting.
I actually stop and let them come up.
Right.
It's easier if you stop and just let them come up and pass you. Yeah, they can judge it better and everything. Like more people would have common courtesy, it would be better. But I have a question. Why don't we have the big neon, big 4x4, whatever they are, they're huge signs that that Reserve Township has. Why can't we have those no trucks?
Oh, that's a great question.
They have them, why can't we? We have little
tiny signs.
Tiny, and they're just like a basic every other sign. They have big green neon signs up there. No trucks.
But okay, so that's a good question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Penny.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
Okay.
No, I understand. That's a good question, Morgan. If we wanted to continue the conversation about getting better signage, so Penny is referencing. I actually haven't seen these. If you drive up there and can you send a photo to me? Thank you so much. So if we wanted to continue the discussion about upgrading our signage, making it more visible, do we continue to talk to your office about that? Or is there another route for how to do that?
So I can reach out to Domi and then I can also CC you in the information that I receive about the signage. Where did you say the big neon signage is currently located at so I can pin that to them as well?
Mount Troy Road, and I'll give you the street that no trucks are allowed. If you're going north, no trucks are allowed to make the left-hand turn going down. And let me get the name of that street because I don't know the top part of that street name. I'll get it in 1 second.
Is it the top of Mount Troy Road?
Well, you're on Mount Troy
Okay.
Road. So if you make the left to go down towards Spring Garden, it goes down to Han, but I forget.
Oh, yeah.
I forget the names of the street right now.
Street.
So I have to look.
What is it?
Mock Street's the one.
Mock?
Yeah, Mock Street. Yeah, the top part, when you cut up though, you don't follow all the way up past the, towards the tennis courts or whatever up there. If you make the right there, what's that one? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Anyone? I don't.
I know that we've done.
Mock? M-O-C-K?
Mock on Spring Garden.
Walk
Yeah,
Spring Garden.
Spring
Okay.
Garden, and then as you're following that road, I don't know what it turns into, and you can make a right and go up to Mount Troy by the cemeteries right there. or you can continue and go straight and come up another part of Montclair. So I'm looking for the street.
Yeah, if you find that intersection, let
I
us
will
know.
find it.
Okay. Any other questions? Anyone from online have any thoughts or questions for Councilman Wilson's office? All right, so when Penny, when you get that intersection, you let us know, and Morgan will let you know.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I did, just so you all know, I've seen some really nice comments about the new streetlights. And people have really enjoyed those new streetlights. So, yeah, thanks to the city for those. Okay, we'll get back to you about that intersection. Do we have anyone here from Representative Powell's office?
Acceptance insurance may be closed by the time you arrive.
All right.
And
No,
they-
you're fine. No, you're totally fine. All right, I'll come back and ask about Representative Powell's office in a second. Do we have anyone here from the mayor's office? Oh, did you figure it out?
Yeah, it's marked as Mauchs Street, and then you make the street, you can only make a right on the Curie, and then it goes to Malvina Street, which that turns into left, and it becomes Promire Avenue. But if you make the right on West Homestead Avenue, it
Okay.
takes you right up to Mount Troy Road, right there you'll see the sign. So if you're on Mount Troy Road, look on the left going down at West Homestead Avenue.
Okay, so Mount Troy Road, West Homestead.
Yes.
Okay.
There's others up there too, but they're the ones I know.
Is it right there?
And I'm guessing those would be reserve.
It's reserved, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I actually see there's Representative Powell herself walking in. All right, I'll come back to her in a second. All right, anything else? I'm trying to think if I have any questions for Councilman Wilson's office. I don't think I do. And we don't have anyone, I don't see anyone from the mayor's office. I'm just gonna give, there she is. Hello. We were actually just about to tee your office up. If you're, I know you're just literally walking through the door, but feel free to get settled. So for those of you online, Representative Powell just walked in, so we'll give her a second to get settled. Yeah, are you good? So I will warn you in advance. Our little conference microphone is a sensitive guy, so we're gonna have to come close to him. But yeah,
Is this easier?
Yeah, this works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hi everyone. Good evening. Thank you for the perfect tee up. Say that I'm Lindsay Powell, a state representative for this area. We are not in sessions, so we're going to come back to listen to give you a little bit of updates from Harrisburg as well as some things we're doing in our office. I have some of our mailers that we send out, so if you haven't gotten one in your mailbox, I have some extra for you detailing some of the stuff that we do in our office, including bus passes, resources for seniors, veterans, and any kind of state-related issues you may have. An update on what's going on in Harrisburg. Constitutionally, we are supposed to pass the budget by June 30th. It is August 13th. We don't have a budget, which is incredibly frustrating. Not having a budget is not just not meeting our constitutional obligations, but all of our state funding is tied up in making sure that we pass this budget. So one of the big fights, one of the things that we have been aggressively, our office has been aggressively pushing for is public transit. As you may have seen, without increased funding for Pittsburgh Regional Transit, as well as SEPTA and all the other mass transit systems in the Commonwealth, we are looking at pretty serious cuts. In our district, in the 21st, the cuts that they propose will cut off 13,000 of our neighbors from service. Up here, we already know that service is not as frequent as we would like already, and so we're talking about pretty drastic cuts for access, which is the apparatus that helps some of our senior neighbors and folks with disabilities. They're going to cut it to 60% operation, and so we're talking about really scary cuts for us. One of the other things that's really important about passing a state budget is making sure that our school districts are funded, and so they are starting the school year very soon, possibly without a reassurance that they will be state dollars to fund what they do, fund our children's education for the next school year. So lots of really
unfortunate things that are held up because of our inability to work together. The House has passed the budget. The Senate is still considering it. We were in Harrisburg for an emergency session Sunday night and Monday. We may be back next week, but I am committed to doing everything in our power, in our office's power, to make sure that we have something that represents what our neighbors want to see and keeps Pittsburghers and Pennsylvanians safe. In a bit of personal news, I wanted to come to you because I just become your neighbor. So I bought a house on Goettman Street. So if you see me, please say hi. And I also was really excited to be here because of the conversation we'll be having later on Cowley as well. So thank you for the audience. If there are any questions, comments, concerns, like you say, non-personal attacks, I'll take them as well. Yeah.
Any questions for Representative Powell?
Yeah, your friend.
Hey, isn't it true that that you guys passed a version of the budget 5 different times with funding for SEPTA and BRT? And
Yeah. So we passed a budget that included public transit funding 5 different times. So we, especially in Pittsburgh, not to take up too much of the time in the room today, but we've known this budget crisis has been looming for the past 10 plus years. The state, I guess 12 years ago, technically put together Act 89, which would be a kind of stopgap to make sure that in 10 years we would come together and figure out how to fund mass transit, fund PAT, which it was then, and figure out what kind of mix of state funding and possibly local share that we could do to make sure that it was meeting our needs. 10 years plus COVID, it hadn't happened. And so we knew this was coming. So we passed several versions of trying to take more of our sales tax to go into our public transit trust fund 5 different times. And our colleagues on the other side of the aisle haven't been as agreeable to doing that. So yeah, absolutely. It's been frustrating, to say the least.
Is there anything else frustrating you?
Yeah,
that's a good question.
Yeah, one of the things, other things I question about the budget, one of the things that I'll say frustrated, but I'm trying to be, my New Year's resolution was to be more diplomatic and optimistic. So I'm going to say frustrated, but also an opportunity. So one of the things that I have been frustrated about is housing. It's something that I ran on a platform that we ran on, making sure that we had more attainable housing. And since I've been in the House, I haven't seen much advancement there. I will say that the governor has put together a very extensive, comprehensive housing plan for Pennsylvania. He's supposed to release it this summer. Again, it's August 13th. Summer, I think we have 42 days left this summer, but everyone's counting. But I am hopeful that as the governor has an interest in thinking about what we need to be doing to be competitive, but also responsible to our neighbors in Pennsylvania, that more folks will be interested in talking about and advancing policy and legislation that makes it easier for all of us to have attainable and affordable housing in this Commonwealth. So frustration, but hopefully in the next few years we'll be coming up with impactful and implementable solutions to some of these big problems.
Any other questions? Anyone online? Our online group has been quiet today. Oh, there's stuff in the chat. I can't.
Oh, just Councilman Wilson's office.
Okay.
For those, that was you.
That was me. I was just saying. And so, because I know if folks are walking in, they can't see who's talking. No, you're fine.
Yeah. If there's anything else, I'll be here. But I also, again, left some of our mailers. So if you didn't get one in your mailbox, feel free to take one. Or use it as a poster. It works as a poster.
I do have one question for you. Sorry, this is very in the weeds, but I am curious. So with the public transit crisis, as you know, this neighborhood is severely affected by that. Yeah. Not only under the PRT's proposed cuts, not only would the 4 be cut, but like a lot of our other surrounding lines would be cut. We'd be in really big trouble. What is I know things are still in negotiation and they can change. What does it look like right now in terms of what the funding level could be or would be under the current drafts of the budget? And do you have a sense of what PRT's next steps are? Because I am imagining it's not going to be the entire gap that gets filled, or unless I'm wrong.
No, that's a great question. So right now, there are a few proposals that are floating. One stands to have a sustainable 40 million that goes to PRT. So the gap that they have right now is $117 million. 40 million is obviously not the majority of it, but it is a sustainable bit of money that goes to it. One of the things that we've also, the Allegheny County delegation has put forward is to create opportunities at the county level for us to create ways to create new revenue that would go to public transit. So Philadelphia is able to tax ride share. So your Lyfts and Ubers, we can't do that in Pittsburgh yet. Long story short, the Commonwealth is very strange. There are cities of the first class, cities of the second class. The only city of the first class is Philadelphia, and they're able to do whatever they want, whenever they want. Everyone else has to create state enabling legislation to do that. And so there have been a number of us that have been working with the county executive's office to think of solutions and legislation that would enable us to open up new pots of money locally. So rideshare is one of them. Another is the car lease and rental fee, which the state sets. It hasn't been changed since the 70s. And so trying to bring that up to a modern level that would create more revenue for public transit that would get us closer to 100 million. PRT also, unlike SEPTA, has some reserves. So in the conversations you may be seeing online, SEPTA, Philadelphia's public transit system, is also in crisis. They've run through their reserves years ago. We have a little bit of a cushion, but to be fiscally responsible, I don't want to rely on that forever. So to your point, how much are we talking? If all goes well, if all goes to plan, being cautiously optimistic, we're talking about possibly filling 100 of the $117 million gap. With the opportunity for PRT to dip into some of the reserves. But that means that we'll be right back at the table next year to figure out if that doesn't happen, what responsible funding will look like. PRT has been a great partner in this. They have been very innovative and trying to figure out if we do need to make cuts, what are the ways to make them that aren't as harmful as we know they will be. Especially for areas like ours that aren't as connected to transit and frequent transit as well. So hopefully that gets to.
Yeah, that's very helpful. Any other questions? I know we just had a couple people pop in on Zoom. If you are just popping in, Representative Powell is with us. We're talking a little bit about PRT and the state budget and all things related to state government and policy. Does anyone have any other questions for Representative Powell before we let her resume her place sitting down as a neighbor and not just a representative? All right. Yep. Okay. We just had someone say, can you read what it says in the Zoom? They appreciate the update.
Appreciate the update and insight.
Yep. Thank you so much. Hello. Hello. Okay. I think we are rounding out our updates from our government partners. Is there anyone else who's here either, well, from the mayor's office? I think it's the last office that we haven't heard from. Okay, all right. So we are going to move on to the main event of the evening, which is if you're on Zoom, you're about to see them. There is a wonderfully large team of people here to present to us on updates about Cowley Rec Center, to share with you some of those designs. If you are in the room, there are some physical posters up around here. But I am going to go ahead. I'm going to pull this. Just give me 1 second to transition the technology. I'm going to move things off the projector. But I will invite everyone here to present about Cowley to come up and join us in the front.
Sure if I can see.
All right, sorry, 1 second, everyone.
Sure.
Why are you not moving now? I think it's because it's this full screen. 1 second. Okay, Morgan. Let's be smarter than the computer.
Be smarter.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Oh, you
I'm trying. Yeah, I'm on the second screen so that I can have it. I did this before the meeting.
I see the mouse coming.
I'm dragging right. I just dragged the Zoom back here. Hold on. Let me see. Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me try.
If you want to, some introductions.
Yeah, if you don't mind. And just a reminder, speak with your theater voices, and the closer that you can get to our little conference microphone, the better it'll be for folks who are on Zoom. And I will get this to work, I promise.
No problem. Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Matt Butter, project manager with DPW in the city of Pittsburgh. Here with the design team for Cowley-Goettman Rec and Park project. We're excited to present to you today some updates that we had with the project. And want to thank you again for allowing us to take part in your meeting and present to you today. Like I said, made tremendous strides, progress, as you'll see here shortly. I think last year that we had a few concepts that we showed with half and full court, as well as some preliminary design plans. So we're now into design development phase of the project, which we anticipate to have near the end of this month, I believe you said. And still on the same path regarding budget construction. But we have a lot of information to get to, and I'll let the rest of the team introduce themselves, and then we'll get into the slides.
I'm Teresa Bucco. I'm a principal and architect with 87. We're the design and architecture and interiors firm that is working on this building.
Hello everyone, I'm DJ Bryant. I'm a project manager at 87 from the design team as well.
I'm Leanna Abel. I'm on to design with the project, and it's nice to meet everybody.
Hi everybody here and online. Adam McCullough with Pointy Engineering. We're civil and geotechnical engineers.
Hi everyone, I'm Heather. I'm a landscape architect at Patrick and MTR, and we are responsible for the site design, which includes the playground and spray pad.
Awesome. Yeah, without further ado, go ahead.
1 second, let me check. Can folks on Zoom see it? Yes. Okay, great. Haha. All right, we got it. Technology. All right, you ready? Next slide? Or
Okay, yeah, then we can just go ahead and jump in.
All
So,
right.
just as a refresher, as Matt said, where we left off at last meeting, we decided collectively as a community, as a design team, to go with the half-court scheme for the building. And so this is just some context, just to sort of refresh what the site is. You go to the next slide. And existing conditions, you're all familiar with these, but we like to sort of have some reference with where we are and where we're going with the project. And then the next slide
Sorry, 1 second. I'm going to fix
so
this.
that's something that we find is really important, and we're going to have that be implemented into the design and into one of the features to be able to engage with the use from the building.
1 second, Teresa. I'm going to fix your slides because there's part of it that's not showing up. I think we should be in better shape now.
Okay.
I just don't want anyone to miss the. I'm sure all the bits, even the rightmost bits, are important. Okay. Moving. Okay.
So for those of you that were with us back in April when we were here, this will probably look familiar to you. Not much has changed since then. So to walk you through it, on the plan, the bottom there, just to orient you, is Goettman Street. Just off the page on the left-hand side will be the baseball field. So as you enter the site off of Goettman Street, there will be a small parking lot there, which will be directly adjacent to the main entrance of the building. As you go further north into the site, that orange tannish color on the left-hand side with the number 4, that would be your playground. The 2 larger structures that are there are the existing structures that are currently on the site, and we'll be relocating those. But we'll also be adding to that a new bay of swings and also a group swing. Group swings are super popular among kids because a lot of kids can use them at one time. So we love using those. As you go further north into the site, where the number 7 is, that is a pavilion, which will look very similar to the photo that's in the upper left-hand corner. And there will also be a grill there that people can use. And that will be directly adjacent to some restrooms that are in the building. So while you're at the park, you'll be able to access the restrooms from outside. There also, you'll see later on, there'll be a concession stand window right there in the building as well. As you go further north into the site, the blue area with the number 5 will be your new spray pad, and that will be all new spray equipment and spray features. Let's see, so around the whole site, there'll be plenty of seating. There'll be benches both around the playground and the spray pad. In the spray pad area, those green squares will be umbrellas to provide shade. Will also be tables under those umbrellas. And in addition to that, we're proposing a number of rain gardens throughout the site to help with stormwater. And with that, we'll also be proposing a number of trees. We're looking to use all native plants, and you can see some of the plants there on the right-hand side. We're trying to provide an array of species that will give you some fun colors in the spring, but also all the way through the fall, so that way year-round you'll have some plant interest. And yeah, I think that's it.
So a couple things that were of importance to the community the last time we were here, it was the importance of the historical reflection on the existing building, and with that being demolished, what can we keep from that? What can we reflect and what can we preserve from that existing building? And so one of the things that we are looking at is taking these limestone keystones where they have the dates, the name of the building that are up on the top of the, embedded into the masonry, and being able to incorporate those into the site itself. So you'll see that the arrow pointing to, is there a cursor? Yeah, that'd be great.
Oh, that works. Yes.
Yeah.
I can do cursor. I love this. This is great. This is great.
Yeah, actually, if you could do them, we're gonna.
Oh yeah, I sure can. This right here.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So then you can see what our idea is, that we can incorporate that into the landscape and have that be nested into the plants and the rain gardens. And so there's a host of other places that we can explore, but that largest one we thought was really important to preserve that. There was also another one on the west side of the building that we can, that we can propose and incorporating that as well. So actually the west.
Speak up a little bit, please?
I sure can. So that's actually on the west side of the existing building. There is another marker that's in limestone that we're going to try to preserve that as well and nest into the landscape and have that be a feature into the new plan. The other thing that we talked about was the importance of community art and being able to, that your community is very vibrant and active in the arts and in the community, and that we would like to incorporate that into the site and into the building as well. And so there's various ways that we can do that. If you look at the photo, second row on the right, there's the idea that you can put sculpture in the garden, and that there's opportunity to put sculpture into the rain gardens and into the playground area, and being able to incorporate sculpture into the landscape. The other thought is that there's opportunities for murals on the outside of the building, so you can see an example of how you might do a mural, but then on the building, if you can point DJ to that corner, yeah, that one there.
Oh, is it
and
that
so
one? Okay.
You'll see, once you see the actual, we have some renderings of the building where that rendering could be, that would actually sort of engage to the playground and to the spray park. And then the other element is being able to incorporate arts onto the inside of the building. When we talked last time about this third space where it can be a gathering space into the main corridor of the building, there'll be a wall that's going to be a feature wall there. So you can see, looking at this elevation, so that you'll have the glass of the facade, but looking through that facade is going to be a wall on the inside of the building, that too can be a feature piece. And as we get further into the presentation, we'll have a better narrative and a better visual for you to kind of see what the intent is of that. But there's a really nice opportunity for that, and you can see the impact of the yellow line in that plan, the extent of the impact that can have on the building within the space. So those are the two things that we wanted to bring to the discussion of the community art and historic elements from the existing building.
We have one question in the chat. Is that something, are you able to take questions as we go, or do you want us to keep this to the end?
It would be nice to be able to get through this and then get to the questions.
Okay, great. Martina, we see you. We will come back to that one here in a bit.
Yeah, okay, so if you go to the next slide. We're going to hold the fly-through for the end. Okay. So you can flip through that one.
Yeah. So kind of digging into the architecture here, we kind of took a look at your neighborhood. We came up on a series of site visits over the weekends, and we kind of did a series of like photographic studies, like what's around the area material-wise, and what kind of influences can we kind of borrow from the neighborhood to take into the building to kind of give that inspiration. So the images you see on the top are just a smaller collection of the materials we observed kind of in the blocks around the rec center. Anything from brick to vinyl siding, to wood siding, to metal paneling, to wood, like exposed wood siding, really a rich tapestry of textures and materials. We then kind of took that and drew inspiration from it. So our kind of primary materials in the building are brick, a siding product called high pressure laminate, which is graffiti resistant and durable, and metal paneling. The brick shade, we kind of pulled some tones from the neighborhood, more earthy, kind of a warmer brown color. Thank you. Yeah, I'm analog now.
Yes.
For the HPL, again, similar. We looked towards like more of like these earthy kind of browns to kind of help tie this together. And the woods, we really wanted to get some warmth in here because this is a community center. It is the heart of the neighborhood. We want it to be welcoming and comforting to everyone that comes here. So that's the wood. Accent material-wise, we're looking at what we're calling a polycarbonate facade, which is in the upper left-hand corner over there. That would be for the recreation volume, so that lets light in without letting glare in, which is really important because in the western facing facade. As well as, I mentioned the metal panels, railings, we have some kind of accent metals, and then obviously glass. Next slide.
Okay.
So these are just those materials isolated by themselves. As I mentioned, we really wanted to put a keen eye here towards sustainability, resilience, durability, as well as a warm, welcoming place for you all. This is a third space, a secondary home. We want you to feel happy and healthy here and want to be here. So that's really what influenced a lot of this palette for us.
It also adds to the importance of longevity and graffiti resistance and impact resistance and just things that sort of just take a toll from everyday use. It's a heavily used site, it's a heavily used environment. We're hoping it's a heavily used building, as DJ said, in a really happy way. But it's important for those materials to be able to have a long life for the longevity of this building. And so that's very important when we're selecting these materials.
And so then to Teresa's point, when you actually look at the facade of the building and how we've kind of deployed these materials, you'll notice that the building is wrapped by a continuous brick base. This is your high impact zone. This is where you want the most durable material on the building. Brick is a great candidate for that application. If you look higher up on the gym volume itself, that's where we have the metal paneling. We're kind of removed from kind of impact areas, but it still is a durable material that gives some bright colorfulness and some pattern texture to the building. On the primary volume of the front, we've kind of called this the lantern. This is that high pressure laminate product that is graffiti resistant. Again, helping us get another kind of accent material in here. And again, looking at kind of tying this palette together with these kind of earthy warm tones, as well as the kind of wood inset details. Probably can't see those back there on the screen. We have them up here, you can look here as well. Next slide. So that view is off Goettman Street. You're in the parking lot. You're looking at the building kind of from the ball ground. This is lower on Goettman Street, as if you're coming up the curve of Goettman Street. You're looking at the corner now. You see again that brick base that wraps the building. The back volume of the building is completely clad in brick. We have the little kind of side porch area that we're calling. That's your kind of area to kind of take use of the views, kind of out towards Upper Lawrenceville, up the Allegheny. And then in the far background, you can see the mass of the gym itself.
And I'll just kind of highlight too with that mass, that's where we're proposing to introduce color. So then that mass is sort of the jewel that sits up on top of the hill that reflects that vibrancy of this building and that it kind of engages with the neighborhood, the view, and it sort of sits up there on top.
And so in this view, we are kind of standing with our back towards the spray park. The playground is off on the right-hand side of the screen, and we're looking at the corner of the building. It would be your concession stand and the public restrooms. We kind of wanted to show this at night to give you an idea of how this facility might work at night. I had the opportunity to spend 4th of July, you guys, at the park. It was really lovely to kind of see the vibrancy of the park and the life happening there. And then to kind of imagine this facility in these kind of special event scenarios, how this would kind of act as a backdrop for those kind of special times of the year.
And I also want to add too, when we were presenting this precedent imagery during our last meeting with you, we talked about the engagement with the playground and with the building itself and being able to have that visual connection to the activity that's happening inside this multi-purpose room. And so you can see how that resolved itself in terms of how we presented that in the design. So these are actually the windows that are open into that multi-purpose room so that you can have that parallel to the playground and the ballpark. And then on this side here, that is the flexible space where we have a door, that garage door that can open up. Likewise, the ability to make that connection to the spray park in that case. And the other thing that we are looking at right now, we're still considering what this palette is. So we have general materials and understanding of that we would like the color to be up on the top and being able to have that be a beacon. But then we're looking at sort of this color that's one option is that this blue and this sort of palette that sort of resembles, that sort of reflects with the sky. And then we have this other palette that's more of the earth. Again, our goal of our materials is for them to be sort of natural, reflecting nature. And so the other scheme is more of an umber color, more of a chestnut, and so that you have this other palette. So this again is sort of the palette where we are right now in terms of looking at these different color schemes. We're still exploring these. Wanted to share with you sort of the two options today. And again, I'm sorry for the folks who aren't here. And then we have that up here in terms of material. You can see the metal colors. They're ever so slightly different, but they complement each other. And then this is the blue palette. So these are our metals. These are mentioning those HPLs that are graffiti resistant for what we call the space that glows off of that industry. And so these are those materials here. Again, it's an array of palette that we're still pulling together. One step on that with a charcoal gray login, wood accents, and then you can see here the way those two schemes kind of resolve themselves and sort of have a visual of that.
So then, speaking with the outside, we'll be talking now about how we want to integrate this on the inside. So with the floor plan itself, like again, how we talked about last one, that we are going with that half-court, multi-purpose design, and you can really see how that corridor is going to really become that connecting space between the outdoors versus the spray park and the playground. So this area just really opens up what kind of connectivity we can have between exterior and interior.
Is the spray park going to be level with the building now? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay, I was just.
Yeah, we'll be raising the site up, so the whole site will mostly be level.
Yeah. Good question. And I will add that the plan that you're seeing here is essentially the same plan that you saw when we met last time. So a few things have been tweaked to just kind of get any kind of dimensions correct, or as we have developed materials. But in terms of the program and location of the elements, it's the same plan that you saw last time.
So then how we really derive the interior of the design is that we have such a nice exterior going on between the playground and the spray park, and especially with all the views to the outdoors. How can we really activate this on the inside, making everyone feel kind of like within that interconnected space between indoor and outdoor, even in the dead set of winter when it's cold and not looking nice outside. at least being able to get that natural daylight in there is going to really make everyone feel so much better to be within the space. So part of this concept is really just trying to create those exterior materials that are coming through within the metals and the woods. How can we integrate that on the inside and really connect the two with each other? So that's kind of where you get some of these natural materials. There's even some indigenous patterns we're able to incorporate through carpeting, things like that. Really trying to emphasize biophilic design, which is around with outdoor elements, how we can bring that through indoor materials like you see here on the floor, even the walls. Trying to kind of bring that concept into play within just even a rec center. It's really impactful to see what kind of materials you can select that still make someone feel better and healthier within the space. And next one. So you can see here, like Teresa and DJ were pointing out, with that corridor kind of activating the space, it really ties you in, pulls you into kind of what you might see throughout the corridor. But what's really nice about this is there's a lot of natural light coming in. You really have that nice view. Even in winter, like I said, even in the spring, you're going to see a lot of natural daylight in this space and really feel nice as you're, let's say, in waiting for your kid in the multi-purpose room or just talking to someone. Just really try to make this feel like an activated space, even when it's cold outside, making it feel welcoming and inviting. So right off that corridor, there is a conference room that we talked about too, having just that collaboration space, even for smaller meetings. So that's right off the entrance, and you can kind of see how we're integrating some of that natural wood, again, that pattern in the carpet that's right there, and then even the ceiling, how we're trying to integrate just like some sun ray beams with some texture and acoustic qualities too, because acoustics is definitely going to be a major factor for a rec center. So really trying to tie in those ceiling elements within each space to kind of address that as well. And so we go back to the corridor, so once you're kind of walking through, this is kind of the corridor activation space between your spray park and your playground, but also that waiting area for that multi-purpose room. Let's say just kind of a quick touch base before you go in there. Also having a lot of flexible furniture in there that is durable, that is going to be long lasting, really making sure that this is an engaging space for people that might have to sit there for an hour or might just kind of touch base right before a game or something like that. You kind of see here, this is also where we're integrating the architectural materials on the outside as well as in the inside. So this is that HBL panel that they were talking about that still has insular acoustic properties still to really address that sector too. And so this is the corridor view looking towards the spray park. So again, this is also going to be a wall too that, let's say you want to have any bulletins up or any kind of meetings or signs, this is kind of be a way to kind of activate the community and be able to address that kind of thing. Just having that on the wall there for everyone to see. And you kind of see how we kind of played with color a little bit here too, trying to introduce some kind of like accent points that might lead you into the multi-purpose room, as well as continue down the hallway to the bathrooms and the spray park as well.
And also point out, you can see how that art installation of that feature wall that we were talking about, seeing from the outside, you can see how it wraps around the corner here as well. So it makes that L and really articulates that third space.
So here's where we're going to be in that multi-purpose room. Right now we're showing it as what it could be like if you were at basketball games, things like that. But you also want to think of it too as really that multi-purpose factor. It could be a banquet hall, it could be social kind of events. So really thinking about the space as being colorful and active, but also flexible. We want to make sure that this is going to kind of help with all the activities that will be here and not just be a useless space kind of thing. So you can really see how that ribbon kind of design kind of affected with the building. You might have a blue side or a green side, but really have this color to be fun and engaging for all the kids and everything too around the top area of the building.
And then you can see here, pointing out again, those are the windows looking into that corridor. And so when you're in that corridor, looking into the gym, you can see that connection. Those are the same windows that are parallel to the windows that then face the outside playground as well.
And then here's that flex space that Teresa was saying, that's that garage door that leads you to the outside of the spray park. So we really just want to show you guys a lot of different options that could happen within the smaller flex space, the smaller multi-purpose room per se, if you will. So this could be a ping pong area for like youth activities, smaller games. Next slide. So there's like 4 of these. It can also be like a yoga studio or even a gym. Next slide. Also party rentals, different types of ways to try to get some revenue within the space. And then next slide. Last one, senior engagement as well. Just trying to make some nice activities, creating like a nice space for everyone to be able to gather, mixed ages as well, really trying to allow everyone from the community to be able to use each 3 different type of multi-purpose spaces. And the next slide.
think now we want to jump to our fly-through.
Yes, 1 second.
So the last piece of this that we have is, I'm going to walk you through, we actually have a video that sort of takes you through the space and gives you a three-dimensional view of the whole space, and sort of, we call it fly-through, and it takes you through the whole site.
1 second. I just have to make sure the share is correct here.
Yeah, definitely. This kind of, you saw the inside, you saw the outside, and now I want to see it in 3D here. Let's see, it's gonna. There we go. All right, so we're just looking down at the site. You can see Goettman Street to the south. We're going to zoom in on the front of the building.
And I'll just add while we're walking through this, so you can see the connection of fenestration and that connection to Goettman Street. Looking into that third space that can be for gathering, meeting your neighbors, sitting down while your child is playing a game in the multi-purpose room. And so you can see how you can see right into that glazing and into that space, and the opportunity to be able to see through that glass when we're proposing that to be an art wall. And you can see the connection of that.
Yeah, so we'll have street trees on the front, and then this is going to go toward our parking area. So Goettman Street's quite narrow, so what we did on our design, we talked about this last time, but be able to have a pull drive-through. This is one-way angled parking. Right now we have 6 stalls with 1 ADA spot. It's kind of an overview of where you're at here. Again, street trees and sidewalk connecting over to baseball fields. We are gonna, our site is limited by the red line, but we are gonna add in a new bleacher for baseball, since that was kind of eliminated in past projects. We're gonna now zoom into the playground area. Some of this equipment, actually the equipment here is reused equipment from what's out there on the site now, with the
intergenerational bonds between young children and the residents. Research shows these programs.
If you're on Zoom, can you go ahead and mute, please? We hear your TV, whoever you are.
So we'll have park benches surrounding the playground. This is safety surface, the orange, with trees and site lighting around the playground.
I think one thing I forgot to mention is that there'll also be some bike parking here, as well as a bike repair station.
Yes.
That was something that was
Nice.
the last.
Yeah, we can do that by the parking.
Is the playground equipment the small one for littler children and the bigger one for bigger children?
Yes, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and those.
How many swings are there?
There are 2 swings on the one bay. There's a traditional belt swing and then a toddler swing. And then the second bay is a group swing, which.
Is there a handicap swing on there for the
Yes.
kids?
Yes.
Where's that at?
That is, I'm sorry, I misspoke. I thought it was a toddler swing, but that is actually.
So there's no
that's
toddler
the
swing?
Correct. It's a belt swing and a accessory swing.
So this is your pavilion. We'll have picnic tables and 88 picnic tables there. The water fountain on the left side there, the far side. We have our charcoal grill, our linear rain garden here with trees. It's kind of an overview of that. And then we'll zoom in toward the building. We'll have a generous area for gatherings here on the concrete sidewalk area. This will turn over toward our side entrance. You can kind of see into the gym a little bit. And then on the left, that left window is your concession stand window. With that door to the left of it is the entrance to the concession stand. With trash receptacles there, we have another rain garden. Just to our right there, with the trees you can see. Now we're zooming into the spray park area. And this is all new equipment. As Heather mentioned before, we're actually raising grade on this site. Right now there's ramps, switchback ramps to get down to the spray park. We're bringing it up in grade, so everything's going to be very flat and easy to get to. We have three umbrellas with picnic tables under those, similar to what you have on site right now. but those will be new. Benches surrounding the spray part. And it's kind of meander around there. You can see the garage door on the back. We'll get to that, but that will open up to the building, so you'll have to be able to have indoor, outdoor connectivity. So the two doors to the right there are your men's and women's restrooms that will be accessed from the outside of the building only. You'll have the main garage door that will open up to your flex space to connect the spaces. You have a back door, and then the two doors on the right. One's storage and one's a mechanical area. And as we zoom out to the back of the site, there's a fence line there that's going to remain in place. That's our red boundary line, and we are going to connect to the existing sidewalks to the basketball court side, and then there's steps that exit the back of the site. And that's kind of a big overview of the whole site. Again, we're not changing the baseball fields with this, and flutter.
Thank you all.
Guess we can open up to questions.
Yeah, any questions?
Discussion.
There was one online, right?
We did. It did get answered in the process
Okay.
of, but we can ask it just for the sake of having it answered in the room as well. Can you go back to that question?
Yeah, it was, would the new configuration include the removal of the existing playground?
Do you have photos of the concession, inside the concession? So we can't see the inside of how it's gonna be.
We don't yet, so we haven't gotten to that degree of detail for the inside of the concessions, but essentially what will be in there will be some refrigeration, counters to work on, and there'll be very minimal in terms of equipment. There won't be cooking equipment.
No cooking equipment, nothing to warm anything up, no microwaves or anything to want to sell anything, nothing like that?
We'll be programming that with the city of Pittsburgh, and so we'll be working with what the requirements will need to be for that.
And who makes the decision on this? City makes the decision on the requirements for that?
We'll be working with, seeing what the needs are, so we'll be determining what the needs are of that with the community, and then we'll be go from there.
We currently have a standard now. We have warming kitchens. There are different types of code that we have to go through too. I know some other projects I'm working on, so yeah, we have to go through that with Barb's as well and the team to see what makes the most sense. How we go.
Just to give community feedback around that, our place to get revenue for events will be far more lucrative if there's an actual kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Far more lucrative if there is actual equipment to even just cook, one stove, fridge, like a sink, commercial sink. Like that will make it much more lucrative to rent because a lot of people are looking for a place they can warm up food when they're having an event, whether it's a corporate event or a birthday party. So something to think about and just community feedback around that. And then I had different questions, if that's okay.
So I think that's different from the concession stand. The
okay.
concession stand's gonna be separate.
Okay.
There also will be the kitchen part.
There is
gonna be a kitchen?
Yeah, I think there is a kitchen, isn't there?
I didn't see that.
There's the concession stand, that's what out the windows.
Right, okay.
And then there's a catering kitchen.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Inside the building. Yeah.
I missed that.
Okay, sorry, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
No,
Yeah, there's a catering kitchen inside the space.
But they're separate kind of.
That's okay, but there's gonna be a kitchen.
Exactly, yeah. The concession stand and the restrooms to replace the outdoor windows that serves the parking in the ball field.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Sorry. The question was, I know we had talked about putting some mirrors in the flex space to allow for dance and yoga. I don't know how it would work with the garage doors, but if there was space on one of the walls to put like alarm mirrors or leash mirrors, that would be really helpful for our dance and yoga that's happening. And then I'm constantly at that park with my babies, and I will say the 2 swings that we have now, and it's a much less utilized than hopefully this will be, isn't quite enough. So more swings would be really great. It's constantly taking turns, constantly, refereeing that between older children and younger children. So that would be my hope, is that there could be maybe more swing opportunities. And then in connection to that also, the shaded space, the way where we sit, I know you have 3 tables there, is so important, especially when you have younger children that aren't playing in the spray park, while your older children play, because you don't want them in the sun, you can't wear sunscreen. So, just thinking about possibility for like more shade over the benches perhaps, perhaps like those wind sail shades over that area in certain spots. The 3 benches will go fast. So just thinking about that opportunity, I know the trees will take a lot of room. So, thinking about that, that'd be awesome. This looks absolutely beautiful. Thank you for your work.
In terms of the swing, sorry, I just wanted to touch base on that. I certainly hear you. Swings are so popular. We understand that. I think one thing about, there are a lot of codes and requirements that surround playground equipment, and one of those is we're required to provide 6 feet around the entire element. And so if you look at what's there now, it looks like a lot of wasted space, but that's actually the required 6-foot zone. So to provide more swings, we would have to lose some of those structures. And so it's a bit of a toss-up. We can certainly look at seeing if there's anywhere to fit more in, because we know
just
they're so
longer,
popular.
maybe. I don't know if that's possible. You know, because you would still have the same. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
You guys
gap
can take a look
between
and
the
see.
two, like you can put maybe.
I trust
some
you.
right in between
So
them.
you're thinking maybe instead of the group swing, just one long bay?
Yes,
maybe
with multiple
fit
swings.
4 to 5 swings.
Yeah.
Yes, that would be great.
Okay, interesting, yeah.
Something to think about.
It's my question, I have 2 questions. You can't have everything you want. The site looks awesome, but I don't see how it's all gonna fit in the place where it's at now.
That's their job, and they figure that out.
You show the roads, and you said Getman's so narrow, okay, to begin with, and the hillside on the back, who knows if that's gonna be here 5 years from now? You get a couple more major rainstorms, the whole back of that is gonna fall down that walkway.
Well, we haven't
I'm
gone
sure you've had
past-
studies
We
done.
haven't gone past the lawn or the basketball court that's there now. So all of that is remaining. And then back line, yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Oh, sorry. Hold on.
You know that, they repaired it over the years, the
Yeah.
back hillside, but
It
there's
still
a
leaks.
walkway, but there's a walkway and all that you gotta cross before you even get to that hillside.
Wasn't there like a geotechnical study though
Yeah,
to
they
ensure
did.
that it was that wasn't that why this took so long though? Was that we did the whole hillside study to ensure that it
They
was
were buying houses on Boston Street below there, because it was on the frame, and it's like, oh, repair that.
She's excited.
That's kind of why that red line, we're really limited the site to 1 acre. We're not touching the basketball court, we're not touching the baseball field. That existing 4-foot high fence in the back, we're not going past that. In fact, we're stopping short of that fence with any earthwork. So kind of where those trees are, we're not even disturbing that area.
So it's gonna be what it is now, pretty much,
The limit of the park, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're not going anymore.
I have one.
That could be a true Pittsburgh consideration.
That's
like
true.
stabilizing the hillside.
That's true. I have one question online I want to make sure that we get to just before we go to other questions in the room. There was a question about whether it will include exterior bathrooms or only interior. Yeah, I thought there were exteriors. I think they're on the back side of the building. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. So like if you're online, there you go. They're back there.
And there also will be interior restrooms too.
Yes, and yeah, there's both.
Okay, there's a woman in the back that has like.
Aaron, yeah. Let the park queen speak.
City rep?
Matt Butter, yep.
And you're with
DPW, yep.
Architecture. Sorry, I'm awesome, very excited. I'm a neighbor of Spring Hill, so this will be my rec center as well. Super excited. I work with Parks and Conservancy. My question is, knowing what we know about our existing rec center and how we are having a very, very, very hard time staffing those, several of our rec centers are staffed by non-hospital diseases. What do we know about like, are we, like, this is great, but it's not gonna be great if it's locked and not programmed and staffed. And that's my biggest fear.
Yep.
So is that a commitment we already have from them, or?
We're still working with them. So I know a lot of centers right now, they have satellite or remote staff that will go in the morning, open up, but we're still working on that, how that's going to look with them. Like you said, I know they sometimes have trouble getting staff, but I think it's ultimately going to be a community group. at some point, but we're still in early stages working with them on how that's going to look from their standpoint as far as operating.
You mean volunteers?
What's that?
You mean volunteers?
Yeah, community group.
Yeah, we.
Volunteer to do that. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, can you, I'm sorry, I can't.
Okay.
Hear. When you said you ultimately think it's gonna be a community group, can you be a little bit more explicit on, do you have that group already, are you already having conversations with that group?
We haven't had any conversations with the group yet, but we can establish and start those conversations.
Yeah, I guess I would just love for you guys, obviously this group.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like Sarah's lots of nonprofits in this section of the north side would probably be interested in being that programming partner. I just and I'm volunteering to help coordinate conversations because this again, it's part of my job, but also I'm a neighbor. And I just don't want us to be at the ribbon cutting and it be like, when do we actually use it? You know what I mean?
Right.
So I want to be find a lot of active people in the neighborhood that are very anxious for this to happen. So we want to help.
For sure, yeah, and we certainly would appreciate it. And that's still going to be a thing where I think, coordinating with parks too on, because we'll have obviously maintenance to, cut the grass and all that. So we still have to go through all of that process and our construction drawings. So we still have some time, but ultimately, yes, we'd love to set up something to discuss those logistics and how that could look. So. Similarly,
there's a question, this is connected to that, about maintenance of the bathrooms. Is that something that the city would handle, or is that going to fall on community groups as well?
I believe that would be on the city through parks.
Okay.
Again, I'm trying to think of different. We have parks maintenance that comes to, like Parkland Rec Center and those other facilities that are run by community groups to clean there, provide supplies. So it would ultimately fall under that realm.
Okay. Wi-Fi. Someone asked if there's Wi-Fi planned, and then are there showers in the bathrooms?
No showers.
No showers in the bathrooms. Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi would ultimately be.
Is that a conversation to have?
It's in the conversation
okay.
To have. Yeah, for sure. I know. What's that? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, they're in the process right now upgrading Cat 6, the Net PGH projects that are upgrading all the wiring there. So this would ultimately be toward the end of that. Yep.
Maybe this is also like a programming staffing question, but just with all the hot days we've had, I know there are a lot of cooling centers around the city. Are community centers used in that way, or is that something that could be considered for this space?
Yes, I know. Even for example, we're going to be renovating Brighton Heights, so we're going to lose that one as a cooling center soon. So. Heating center, so yeah, this could ultimately be another solution.
Especially without public transit to get there.
Right. So that can certainly be included in the programming. Yeah.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah, how long will our spray park be down? Because these kids up here don't have very much. The playground's gonna be small like it is now, and the other ones need to desperately here. So our children have nothing here. The spray park, how long is that going to be down? Because they're not going to have anything.
Yeah, so presumably whenever this goes out to bid, typically we start construction in early spring, as early as we can, depending on the weather. And with most of our projects, our goal is to do it from spring till as late in the year as we can to get it done in that time frame. We haven't really quite gotten into a phasing plan yet of, will the playground and spray pad be open before the building? Potentially, we haven't really gotten that far. But
so possibly in the entire summer.
Yes.
Yeah, I think.
So our kids are going to have no buses to get to the swimming pool. They're not going to have a swimming pool. They're not going to have a playground.
Just for one summer.
That's a lot for a kid. Tell a kid that. Tell a kid that. Whole summer out there, that's not like saying.
I get it.
Yes, I have a follow-up to what you're saying. It's a really good point. We've got Michael Flynn Playground down the Lookout Park that has funding, but I don't think there's a timeline for the project.
That hasn't happened. Yeah, nothing's happened there.
We've got Spring Hill also going to be down. We've got a lot of awesome investment happening in the city, which we're all very excited about. But I think, to your point, the coordination between all those projects and when different amenities are gonna be down, it's like paper critical. So these, Spring Garden, Spring Hill, Northview Heights, like these communities have a nearby place to go when.
Yeah.
They can't. Troy Hill has no transportation and the buses are cut, so how do the kids go anywhere? I mean, fortunately I drive, but there's a lot of kids up here, their parents don't drive.
Yeah, we'll have to look at that as we're still continuing to plan. I don't know when those other projects are taking place. I think right now we're still looking at construction drawings will probably be most of next year. So we're looking, and we're still waiting for some funding, obviously.
It's gonna take summer, it's gonna take summer. There's nothing you can't boil your nose and create it overnight.
Right.
But
right.
I just want the timeline, so when the kids start saying that, I say, well, they're gonna be out for a year. But then it comes back, so that's a good fight from like last time.
Right, and as Heather said, as soon as we can get fully funded for construction, say we get through the new year and early spring, hopefully, I believe it would be 27 spring.
Yes.
So
you're talking 28, 29.
So
it'll be 25 years, basically.
We've been getting different estimates, but it's probably going to be 28 and 28.
So a quarter of a century since the last.
Completed, hopefully.
Okay.
So you're saying the construction's gonna start 27, it's not gonna be done till.
If we get fully funded.
So we'll take over a year for all this, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you said just sprinkle it like.
Oh,
Well,
no.
there's the potential that we can phase it so that the playground
They
in the
have
site
that.
has.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
yeah, we haven't gotten that far yet, but that, given your feedback, that's certainly we'll look at.
Yep, for sure.
And I apologize if you said this, what's the gap right now, the funding gap?
I'd have to double check. I believe we're looking at 6 million.
Oh, I think it's much larger than
Is
that.
it larger?
Yes, I think we only have,
I
unless
thought it was 6 or 8. I have to double
eight
check.
is probably closer. I believe so. We had $750,000 of ARPA money that was left, and I think that is being spent in this planning process. Very well spent. Thank you all for your work. And I believe we had $1 million in the capital budget, which I don't think we have touched yet. So I think last time we talked, I think we were looking at somewhere between 11 to 15 million to finish this. And so we're looking at, at least 8, maybe closer to 10.
We're still getting estimates too. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
And
it's going to take every bit of this coming year and next year's capital.
Yeah, and we have talked to Councilman Wilson's office about that, and we've also encouraged them to help us look at how we can utilize some public-private partnerships, because we all know the city budget is tight as well. And so we are working on how we can make that funding happen, but we have a little bit of that committed, but not very much. And that's something that Troy Hill Citizens is working on with the councilman's office. We have one more question in the chat. It appears that hard surfaces surround the structures. With our warming summers, artificial shade really needs to be considered over large portions of it, at least until some of the trees mature. And are shade trees being considered?
So right now we have, I would say, small to medium trees selected for the site. We can certainly look at bigger shade trees. It's a bit of a balance. The bigger the tree, the more the root system, and you really don't want large trees that close to a playground because then it uproots the play surfacing, which is very costly. So it's a balance between that, but I think given the number of comments about shade that we received today, we'll definitely go back and look and see how we can incorporate more.
Kind of related to that, stormwater management, you kind of, in your aerial view, blew past rain gardens. What is the capacity for rain gardens to handle a heavy rainfall, given the size of that roof and all of that impervious surface?
Yeah, we're gonna get into the design yet, but we're probably looking at underground storage to take the peak design storage. Which would be under the rain garden area or under paved areas.
Too bad there isn't a way to capture that.
And that roof is actually smaller than the current roof, because this building, the footprint's a little bit smaller than the current.
Yeah, well, you're still looking at a lot of, there's flooding up here anyway, yeah.
want to make a comment. I really appreciate your thoroughness, and you really have thought this through. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We have another comment in the chat. Similar, super nice to see all the updated visuals. That's from Lloyd, who we all met with. Excited to see the community art at the center of it. I'd like to see the play equipment updated in keeping with the investment the city is making in other playgrounds like Arsenal and Whiteman Park playgrounds. I'm not sure what our options are. If that's maybe a budget, does the playground update, does that come down to budget? Is that essentially what it is, or?
I think it depends. I think we said that this equipment we would still be able to get.
So play equipment typically has a 20-year lifespan. The play equipment that's currently there is still in decent shape. There is a little bit of vandalism on some of the plastic components, which are easy to swap out. So we're looking at that as an option. I think, and feel free to chime in if I misspeak, but I think we looked at the project as a whole, and there were maybe 4 main components, right? The building is a huge part of the project, the spray pad, the playground, and even though it's small, the parking lot was a big ask as well to fit in. And the spray pad absolutely had to be replaced. That was a given. The building absolutely had to be replaced. That was also a given. And given that the play equipment is not quite 10 years old and is still in decent shape, we kind of looked at that as an opportunity to save money and put it towards some of those things that we absolutely have to replace.
And that's something when we hit that 20-year mark, or when we hit that 17-year mark, we can start looking at updating when you have the space for it.
Exactly.
That was the thought.
It's like the big green area to the left right there that you just passed it. It's just grass. Can't we have a playground area? Can't we use that part as the playground area and put some more swings there?
So at the moment, that's planned to be a rain garden, and so once we're in the design development stage right now, so once we get through that, we'll start working with Adam, the engineer, and determining how much stormwater we have to capture, like you mentioned. And so
you're talking like right here.
Yes,
So
right
like
there.
so
at the moment,
that becomes an option. I mean, that could possibly become an option and expanding
possibly,
our park.
I don't want to get your
No, I
hopes up,
know,
'cause,
but
you know, we have
that
to.
very small. There's no.
You know, stormwater is a requirement. We have to do that.
I understand.
But yeah, we will, once we start getting into the calculations, if we're able to reduce the amount of rain gardens, I think that would certainly be our first
It's about
one to get rid of, yeah.
Yeah, so we're throwing trees in here and you're losing shade for equipment, and that's
Oh, no, just connected to myself pavilion, it reminded me, I know I mentioned in the feedback last time, to have electricity in that pavilion, is that still on the table for that?
Yeah, that's still on the
Okay.
table, that's not, we haven't crossed that off yet.
Okay.
Very nice though. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a lot
Yeah, thank you all.
No, we appreciate everyone's feedback.
And just so you all know, I know that the group showed a lot of options for public art. That is a different process that we will have to go through with the city. And so I just want you all to know that's sort of, it's not entirely separate, but it is in many ways separate. And that is something that Trail Citizens is going to start that conversation with the city to figure out what the options are there, because that comes from a different budget. It's a different process, all of that. So we are going to pursue that, get that started. And we'll be able to hopefully give you some updates on that once we have a better idea, I think, of when construction might start. All right. You all have been very generous with your time. Any other questions? And if not, we can also, you can always email Troy Hill Citizens and I can pass them on to the team as well.
If anybody has additional comments they'd like to make, they can do it on the Engage site.
Oh, that's right. The Engage site is up.
We'll put this up on the Engage site.
Perfect.
We'll welcome any feedback and comments on the design.
I really like the blue. The red reminds me of a barn. It really does. There's a big barn by my house.
I like
where my kids live. It's a sports barn. And it's red like that. It reminds me of a barn.
Oh yeah, is this something?
I like the blue though. It's really pretty.
Yeah, it's
I like the blue more like the sky and stuff. I definitely.
Or is this something, because we can also take, is this something where you could maybe put something up on the Engage page and we can have folks sort of weigh in over time as well? Is that helpful or?
If people would like to make comments, they can
Okay.
weigh in and do that on the Engage page.
Great. Great.
feedback on for the people's thoughts about the palette.
Sounds great. But I really appreciate you incorporating that color. I know that was feedback that you got. And so, yeah, I do like both of those colors are lovely. I'd be happy with either one. So, wonderful. Anything else in the group? Thank you all so much for your work. Really appreciate it. This is so much better than what we have. It's like, so, yeah, it's so nice. So, yeah, thank you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Great. All right. Okay, for those of you online, thank you for sticking in here. Aaron Tobin is here to give us some parks updates outside of Cowley-Goettman Park. So I'm going to bring Aaron up, and I'm also going to get rid of, okay, I'm going to get rid of this off the screen. So if you want to be seen, you can come awkwardly loom behind me. Yeah, because that's just my computer. Yeah. I'll put it up on the screen in just a second. Oh my goodness. I'm just having so many computer fun things. Okay.
Good for me to start.
Oh yes, you are good to go. Just use your theater voice and talk towards that. Yes.
Here, I'll pass them out with you.
Hi everybody, Erin Tobin with the Pittsburgh Parks Conservancy. My annual visit. I'm here to just share some updates on some of the work that my organization is doing on the north side. The Pittsburgh Parks Conservancy, as a reminder, has been around for almost 30 years. We are a nonprofit. We work closely with the city and the community on implementing capital projects across the city, as well as do education programs and mostly free programming in parks. Tonight I brought mostly information about Riverview Park because that is our closest regional park. The Friends of Riverview Park is probably 20% of my job. I'm in that group. We do a lot. There's a lot going on in Riverview right now. On the back of the smaller handout, and this is some of the major projects that we're working on right now at the bottom, but this is not the total list. We have a lot more actually going on, and you can find more out about that on our website. There's a couple other ways you can find out about what's going on in Riverview. You can be added to the Friends of Riverview Park email list. I send maybe 2 emails a month. We meet monthly. We have a website and we have a Facebook page where you can email me with questions. All that information is on here. And on the other side of that page is a flyer for our upcoming Riverview Park Day event. It's our annual Riverview Park celebration. It's free, live music. Thank you so much. Free food, family-friendly activities, bounce house, face painting, that kind of thing. Beer from Allegheny Brewing, and that is on October 5th from 12 to 4 p.m. at the Activities Building in Riverview Park. This is also a fundraiser to help support some of the organizations that work in the park, like the Parks Conservancy, the Student Conservation Association. They do a lot of trail work in the park. So come on out and join us for that event. It should be a fun one. And I will pause to see if anybody has it. Oh, and this other handout that's double-sided is a report on some of the major accomplishments that the Friends of Riverview Park has been a part of from the time we were formed in 2017 through 2024. It's not up to date, I'm sorry, because a lot has happened in 2025 that is not on this flyer. The Davis Avenue Bridge opened up, which was the first project that we took on back in 2017, and yes, it took 8 years to get it done, but it happened. We're really excited about that. And also the Parks Conservancy completed the restoration of the Valley Refuge Shelter, which is in the lower part of the park. And we are also doing quite a few trail projects in the park right now. And we have 11 landslides, 4 of which have been fixed in the last couple of years, which is pretty awesome. So again, lots going on in Riverview. I won't read what's on the flyer that you can read yourself. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. My contact information is on there, and then a lot more detail about what we do is on our website, the Friends of Riverview Park website. I'm going to pause. Do you have any questions? Oh, you are literally raising your hand.
That's okay. Wednesdays last year was so much fun. Everywhere we go. And then I have a question about the contract. Is that is it in existence or is it open?
is open, and we have the Department of Public Works and City Parks to thank. They helped us make it happen.
I am so excited. Do we have another one in the city? Just the other one.
They are building. There's one plan for Southside Park.
So no, you're the first one.
I don't believe that there is another official one in the city. Yeah, so there is one plan for the Southside Park.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll be there.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's open. It's ready to go. It's ready to be visited.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions for you?
Yes.
Hi.
Actually, it's funny because I actually have updated for Riverview Activity Building, which.
Tell me everything.
Yes, well, architecture, but more facilities. So we're getting a new gas line there. We were working back and forth with People's Gas for a while there, and we're finally able to move forward on that. I'm trying to get a narrow timeline on it all, but it's good to know that this is coming up, so we can try to plan around that. But along with that, we did have a basement down there as well. I mean, there's some structural. I know there was a truck that actually struggled on being there, so we're still trying to get that finished as well. So just brief updates, but if you need any information on that, I will give you contact.
I will get a Christmas card before I leave. That's for sure.
Just wanted to.
I could literally talk about Riverview Park for 4 hours. That's like a quarter of what's actually happening. So those are city of Pittsburgh led projects that he was just talking about, which are very important because the activities building gas has been offline for 4 years now. So when you rent that building, you are not able to use. I think we have electric stoves in there now, but we don't have any heat, which we used to have. So it used to be able to be used almost all year round. So that's a major update that I'm excited to bring to the Friends of Riverview Park plans. Thank you so much. And the city of Pittsburgh's construction division does incredible masonry work, and they redid the entranceway to the visitor center last year. They do fabulous work. So yes, thank you for mentioning that. Any other Riverview Park questions? Yes, sir.
This is the Davis Avenue Bridge. What about the Davis Avenue Automobile Bridge? Is that?
So the Davis Avenue Bridge that was recently rebuilt is bike and pedestrian only.
Okay.
So that there is no vehicular access, and that was on purpose.
Okay.
So through a community engagement process, it was determined that there was not another need for another vehicular entrance to Riverview Park, but there was a need to have a connection for bikers and pedestrians.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Very quickly, another north side project that the Parks Conservancy is working on is Fowler Park. If anybody uses Fowler Park, doesn't use Fowler Park, or would like to use Fowler Park, I would love for you to take my survey about Fowler Park. The Parks Conservancy in this survey has visuals to what the master plan is recommending. Let me pause. How many of you know where Fowler Park is? Raise your hand if you know where Fowler Park is.
Fowler Field.
Fowler Field. Okay. Well, then I'm gonna
North Charles Street.
Fowler.
You just live on the north side, just don't know this stuff.
Wait, no, I know. I get there.
She doesn't go here.
It's on the north side.
What part of the north side?
It's in what's considered Perry South. Okay. Charles Street Valley.
Okay.
So Perrysville and Charles Street, right before the bridge to go over to Northview Heights. That's where Fowler Park is. It's right across the street from the Pittsburgh project.
Yep. Never been there, but I know.
The middle hill of the north side.
Annunciation Church.
Yes. Thank you.
What is it?
What's the name of the church?
Used to be Annunciation.
Annunciation. Anyway, so Fowler Park is the next major investment that the Parks Conservancy is working on. This is funded by the Deal Foundation and Parks tax dollars, and we are going to be focusing on the upper part of the park, which is where the football field is. Fun fact, the Northside Steelers, our Pee Wee football team here on the north side, is the only Pee Wee football team in the city that doesn't have a concession stand and isn't able to play at their home field. They play at Oliver right now because there aren't one. So we are working really hard to gather feedback on what people want to see outside of the general recommendation of build us a new football field to give them that home base that they deserve, like the other Pee Wee football teams. So if you're interested in providing feedback on Fowler Park, I'd love to hear it. Part of what we're trying to understand is why people might not use it, and what we've heard loud and clear is that if you are not in youth sports, if you don't live in the neighborhood, you have no reason to go there. There's a lot of activity happening with organized sports, but there's not a lot of other programming. The pool has been down, and there's just, people are saying there's no reason to go there anymore. A lot of people went when they were children, but not anymore. So we're hearing very loud and clear that programming is a big need, and that's something that we're working with the Field Foundation on to do while we design the Upper Valley Park project, which is likely to break ground in a couple of years. So I have other Northside Park project updates I can give, but it's late. So does anyone have any questions for me? I can always go back too.
You can always go. Anytime.
The bottom of the Black Lives. What's happening there?
Michael Flynn?
Yeah, that was what it's called. I don't know the name. The one at the bottom.
So it's called Michael Flynn Spring Garden.
Okay.
Playground.
Oh.
So actually, I think the survey just closed for the second round of feedback on the designs. Kara Smith from DPW is the lead on that. It's my understanding that she will have a preferred design to present to Cascade Spring Gardens Group. And have they come here to present to you guys?
No, they haven't. But I mean, I'm sure that they, if we were interested, I'm sure we could reach out and get them to come up and share
A
that.
preferred design should be ready this fall, and I think it's a matter of getting money in the budget to make it happen. I believe that the councilman is, somebody might be on here.
Not anymore.
I'm pretty sure the councilman is going to be working hard to advocate funding so that it can go to the next step. I would imagine it would not break ground until 2027 at the rate we're going. Spring Hill Park has been in the budget for 7 years.
Yeah.
And we are hopefully going out to bid in a couple weeks for that one. So just take some time, as you guys know.
Sure does.
You said look out, there is one when we're gonna be getting it done, you have no timeline.
So look, it's in the budget.
Okay.
Similarly.
And we know how it
So
looks, right?
I have a
Yeah.
lot of kids back there using it and their parents are all, I'm talking to them, so.
Yes.
Any information I can repeat, that would be good.
So we met out there last spring, with Abby, Morgan and I, and met the Department of Public Works staff from the Rear Review Division who maintain the parks on the north side. We asked for some short-term fixes to kind of just spruce it up a little bit. I don't know if that ever actually happened, but it's worth a follow-up.
Yeah. I haven't been back there in a while. Have you seen any?
It's not. I know what you're talking about.
It hasn't been?
I
Okay.
put a couple Band-Aids here and there, but no,
Well,
it's dangerous for the kids even.
They're coming up to help us with something else soon, so I can chat with them again. Yeah.
It's worth asking, excuse me, like, one of the things was like repainting the basketball lines.
Yeah, it was pretty simple stuff.
And like
yeah.
some of the fencing stuff. Like if there are specific, like hazardous, dangerous things, like those are explicit things that DPW should be fixing in the short term. That I think you could communicate to them.
Yeah. And is that something, like, if it's stuff like that, can people just also put in 311 requests?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
311 is always a really good way to go, just to have the record of it.
Yeah.
But you having, the relationship with DPW directly to like be able to get them to help out is also helpful. But absolutely, always 311.
Okay.
So in the budget, are they gonna redo the whole park, or are they just gonna go and put new?
I think I can look and let Morgan know, but I'm pretty sure it was like several hundred.
It was over $400,000. That's a lot.
For upgrades, and I can't remember right now. I should have looked.
We definitely need stuff for this.
I don't remember, but when I saw 400,
It
over
was a
400,
lot
that was a
more.
lot more than we weren't expecting that. So, but we haven't heard anything about that yet. So I'm not sure I should check in with Councilman Wilson's office about that actually.
We neglected Cowley, and then that was neglected so long here, I can't believe.
Which is why we want to coordinate all the park projects so that at least one's open while the other is down getting upgraded. Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Erin, and thanks for being here to advocate for to help with Cowley conversations
I'm always
as well.
worried about maintenance, and I'm always worried about staff.
Listen,
Sorry,
those are
I'm annoying.
important.
Nobody wants to think about this. The County Commons in October. Here's a little flyer about that. Just, hang out with me.
And you can share about our success with other organizations when you go talk to them.
I can, and I can share it all over.
I'm sorry.
Thank you for naming the name of that place.
Oh, look out.
No, Fowler.
Fowler.
But I played it when I was a kid.
Oh, that's okay.
Thank you, Erin. Thank you, Erin. Okay, so I know everyone's hung on for a long time, but I do, before we want to close out, make sure that there's nothing else that anyone wants to bring to the group, wants to discuss. Even if we don't have space here, we can always come back to it. But did anyone want to bring anything to our attention or up for discussion tonight? Yes, Val.
Just an update on the school closure stuff. So the public hearings that were specific to the schools that are slated for closure, specifically up here in our neck of the woods, Spring Hill, and Schiller were last week or the week before. There was low turnout, but that's to be expected for the time of year. And there is a 3-month process that they have to undergo before they can do the final vote for any school closures for the specific buildings. So the earliest that they would be able to vote on that would be November. This is the time period where if you have concerns about any proposed plans for closure, you should reach out to the school board and the superintendent. The school board is the one that will vote on it. The program, the STEAM program, the magnet program, those do not require a special process or anything for the superintendent to eliminate. And as of right now, the STEAM program that is at Schiller is not safe. The plan is that all the teachers, the kids and everybody except the magnet kids, so all the neighborhood kids and all the teachers and everything that are currently at Schiller would go as a unit into Allegheny. That is the plan as of right now. So if it's a magnet student, they would go to their home school, and there would no longer be a magnet program associated with Schiller or anywhere here on the north side. And then the only teacher that we're not sure what would happen is the STEAM teacher, specifically Mrs. Jackson. So, because if they don't transplant the program into that new building, then there won't be a STEAM teacher. So that is the plan. If anybody has any questions, please let me know. You can always email me or text me. I can throw my information in the chat. But yeah, so no specific vote on closures can be finalized until the November board meeting.
Thank you, Val. Val knows more about this whole thing than I think anyone could hope to know. So I really appreciate you giving us those updates. And I know she said she's going to put her information in the chat if you have follow-up questions. Anyone have any questions or thoughts about schools? Okay. Anything else? Any announcements? All right. Thank you all for joining us. I really appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. But I know that, feel free to ask any questions as you are headed out. And we really appreciate you hanging in there tonight and being with us. Good night, everybody.